Man, ladies and gentlemen, we are late, but guess what? It's better late than never. We have the Taylor Schabusiness sentencing. Now, I know a little bit of time has passed, and we had the uncle of Shad Thyrian speak at Taylor Schabusiness at Taylor Schabusiness's lockup, right? Jesus, we just need to know her real name. That's such a false and stupid name. But anyway, we have the judge saying a few words before they really send her back for obvious life in prison. So we're going to jump into this. This is a very interesting judge. I find him to be a bit interesting, maybe a little strange, but I think it's because he's newer. I mean, he's a younger judge, so I know he hasn't been in the seat for that long. But anyways, y'all, this is probably going to be the closing of the Schabusiness saga. If I find anything else interesting, I may reopen it. But for now, this is going to be the close. So let's get into this, people. Grab your popcorn, grab your drinks, grab your beverages. Let's get straight into this thing.
So, Ms. Schabusiness, this is your opportunity to address me if there's anything on your mind you'd like to say before I pass sentence.
No, there isn't.
Okay. Very good. Well then, when passing sentence on cases like this,
No, there isn't. Probably the most she's said in court. The most she's probably ever said in court. And you know what? I think she's still trying to do this insanity thing. We can't see her face underneath that spit mask, but I'm pretty sure she's trying to maintain a smile. You know what I mean? And that was probably the smartest thing to do, to try to fake your insanity plea, is just to smile through everything. Because trust me, she had me thinking she was a little, you know what I mean? She had me thinking she was a little kind of loose up there for a minute until I realized she was going for the insanity. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to witness for sure.
the court has to consider the factors set forth in State versus Galleon, to consider the gravity of the offense, the character of the defendant, the need to protect the public, as well as other aggravating and mitigating.
Oh no, the eyes tell me everything. It looks like she's pissed. It looks like she has a lion's mane coming down too.
Circumstances, including rehabilitative needs and punishment and deterrence, and then craft a sentence in each case that's appropriate. In this case, when I consider the defendant's character, I can say that over the course of this case, I've learned a great deal about you, Ms. Schabusiness. First of all, you were born in Chicago, lived there until you were about age 10, 12 rather. You seem to have had a stable childhood. You were loved by your mother and your father.
I mean, if you grew up in Chicago, how stable is your childhood? You know, where in Chicago did she grow up? Up until 10 years old? That's a bit of development stages right there. But the thing is, he said her childhood was a bit stable. I thought her childhood, her mom died, her dad was like abusive, all that shit. How is that a stable childhood? You let me know. How is that stable? She had like a terrible marriage. How is that stable?
Father and your brother. And unfortunately, your mother passed away when you were 12, your brother passed away in a vehicle accident, and your dad's incarcerated. But I'm confident that all three of them probably still love you very much.
I mean, how all three of them still love her? Two of them are dead. What? Am I tripping? I don't know. Okay. Well, two of them are dead. Maybe he's talking about from up above. But right now, yeah, they're not here with us, dog. So one of them love you, maybe, possibly.
Her father's employment was transferred to Green Bay when she was about 12 years old, and hence began the contact Ms. Schabusiness had with this community. She attended Bayport High School. At about 16, she moved to Texas to live with her grandfather. She graduated from high school in Cotulla, Texas, and eventually came back to Green Bay because she missed her father and her brother, which again doesn't surprise me any because, as I've indicated, I think they both love her very much. She's worked in this community. I read over the pre-sentence investigation report that I ordered, and that outlines some work experience that she has, and I think that's a favorable character trait because, quite frankly, not everyone that lives in this community does work. And I think it indicates someone who wants to get out and support themselves and not make anybody else do it.
You're damn right, bro. I don't understand those people who could just live. Yeah, it is a jab. Fuck it. No jabs to nobody. I don't understand those people who could just sit in their house and live off of, like, the government. Like, maybe it's because where I'm from, you don't got no government assistance. If you don't do nothing, bro, guess what? You'll just die. You'll just fucking you'll go from having a home to being homeless. Then you'll go to not being able to support yourself and get super sick and probably die. Yeah, no, you don't have no government assistance where I'm from. So when I come out here and I see people, I see people fucking living off the government with checks because they have fucking children. I'm like, bro, what? Dump them in Belize. Dump them out there. They're going to figure out how to work. They're going to figure it out. Trust me. They're going to figure it out. They have to figure it out. So, I don't know. Somebody with a job, I just look at you like, okay. And, like, what do you mean? Of course you have a job. What else you going to do? Be like, I don't know. That's just my way of thinking. I don't support that shit. Everybody needs to get out and figure something out. If you have a disability, that's completely different. That's where government assistance needs to be placed. You have disability mentally, physically. That's where government assistance needs to be put. But other than that, you got some kids and you don't feel like working, girl, boy, whoever you are, get your lazy ass off the game, get your lazy ass out the mirror, off the phone, and go make some bread. Ain't nobody better than McDonald's, bro. Nobody's better than Target, okay? Shit, go make some, yeah.
But that reflects on character. She has a limited court record. Certainly we have pretty much the entire extent of her criminal record in front of us here today. But it's a limited record that reflects on character. She's got a family who cares about her. Although sometimes I think people take that for granted. If you sit in this courtroom long enough, you'll realize that you should never take your family for granted, because so many people come in sitting in that chair in an orange jumpsuit and have absolutely no one who will come in and say, I'm with her. And that takes a little bit of fortitude to come in and do that. And frankly, today she's got extended family that comes in and does that for her, because her direct family are unable to do that for various reasons. And so I think that speaks to Ms. Schabusiness's character, because there's people in this world who find value and worth in her, that they're willing to come in and stand behind her. So I think that reflects on character.
Yep, that's true. I actually like this judge. I don't know why I said he was weird. He's he's still gonna slam the book in her face though.
I'm cognizant of the fact that she began using drugs at a very young age. Marijuana at age 12, cocaine at around 18, and methamphetamine at around 18 as well. And we've heard a lot of testimony about drug usage.
Damn.
I don't have any doubt that that has an impact on how people conduct their lives and behave from moment to moment. But quite frankly...
Okay, quick break on that part too. I have a friend, really good friend that I've grown to appreciate and love and all that, right? They just told me, just out of nowhere, and I'm not saying they because it's that, I'm just saying they because I'm keeping it fully ambiguous. They're like, yeah, when I grew up, we did like all types of drugs, and then they just listed out all the crazy shit they were doing, and it's purely because of your environment. You know what I mean? It's purely due to your environment. It's not because you want to do them. It's not because you're trying to be an addict. You're trying to try all the crystal and the needles and the coke, and it's because some old asshole goes and offers it to you, and you just think it's okay because everybody's doing it, and it could fuck your life up. And they told me seriously, they're like, thankfully they got off of it. They realized it was terrible for their lives. They just had that realization super young and tried to get off of it and got off. Oh, I'm gonna blank that. But they were like, if you keep on, it could really fuck your mind up, like permanently. And I was like, damn, you're telling me that. So it's not even up for debate. That stuff really fucks your mind up, and it can leave residual effects on you. Social business long story short, she probably was a really good person, but after you keep doing that shit, I think it starts fucking your mind up, bro, and you start glitching, you start losing it.
As far as this incident and these events go, I think I've spoken to this already in prior hearings, but the fact of the matter is, when I watched the interview with law enforcement shortly after these events, I observed someone who was lucid, understanding what was going on, was tracking what was being asked of her, her answers were tracking. Everything seemed to be together at that moment.
She was high as hell, though.
I don't really see the influence of drugs. No, it doesn't mean it's not there.
No. See, I don't know what type of square life you've been living, Judge, but she was high as hell. That interview where she was talking to the police, she was high as hell. What are you talking about?
But I didn't see it in that interview, which is the most closely the most close proximity to the events of this night that we have.
No. She was high as hell. You guys in the comments let me know. Am I tripping? She was high as hell in that interview. Go back to it. It has like 50,000 views on my channel. She was high as hell. Please don't tell me that. She not under the influence of drugs. She was like, she was.
Is that interview, and right then and there, she seemed to be very lucid in what she was doing. But I don't doubt. But there's a long history of drug use, serious drug use. Methamphetamine is a plague in this community, and it seeped into this case as well. And it's something that we have to constantly fight against. It's not a battle that the system wins often, but we're making some headway. And every little step we take is perhaps one life that can be saved as a result of that drug coming into this community. But it's a big problem.
I don't know. She looks angry, sad, like she wants to cry. All those emotions are just like revolving. Right now, she looks like she wants to cry. I don't know. I'd feel like crying too.
And it is in this case. I've heard about Ms. Schabusiness's mental health history. I've read stacks and stacks of mental health records that have come in as recently as a few days ago. And I read them over, which allowed me to learn even more about Ms. Schabusiness and about her character and who she is as a person. I've heard about her son who lives in Texas, and I'm absolutely convinced that she loves her son. I'm going to say more about that in a minute, but that's a piece of who she is because she's a mom, and I think that is a title that is a precious title, and it's an important title. I'm also convinced that a person comes into this court with their life up to that point in time as a demonstration of their character. What kind of a person are they? What do they bring to the table as a member of the human community? Not just this community, but as a community, the human community as a whole. And there are some things about Ms. Schabusiness that speak well of that. I was a little bit put off by a statement that I read in the pre-sentence investigation report, frankly, from her father. He said on page 17 of that report, "I feel like the system could have helped Taylor and kind of failed her as well." And I reflected on that because it's difficult to understand who people refer to when they say the system fails people. Because you know what? It's not the job of the system to raise people's children. The system tries to do that. The system is not perfect. Like our fight against methamphetamine is not perfect, but we carry the fight on. People in our community get into the system, be that the court system or the system dealing with child protection. Really, I think what they're referring to, I don't know, but it seems to be the government. The government needs to come in and do more to take care of people.
I will say child protective services, all the children's services are like the devil. You want to keep your kids far away from that shit. So in terms of that, I would say, yeah, the system's kind of messed. It's fucked up, okay? Shit. You hear CPS, that's like the Grim Reaper because you know your kid's going to get fucked up and he's going to go through crazy things in his life if he has to stay in foster homes and cares. That stuff is horrible. So, and shout out anybody who had to go through foster care. Let me know if you guys so choose in the comments. How was that shit? Because I know that was probably, like, you know, you don't have too many happy stories about foster care. There's a few of them, but I don't think there's a lot.
Stray, and I'm not sure that that's the case. Nonetheless, attempts are made. Attempts are being made in this courthouse every day, and to suggest that somehow it's the system that failed. It always surprises me a little bit when people come into court. They're coming in an orange jumpsuit and chains to suggest that it's the system that's failed my daughter. There's a certain irony in that. There really is. And it disturbed me when I read that piece. Not so sure it's really relevant to what should happen to Miss Schabusiness.
Damn, he is flaming her father right now. He was like, basically, he's like, imagine a motherfucker in an orange jumpsuit who's in prison come up to me and tell me that I failed his daughter. That's basically what he's saying. He is flaming her pops right now. That's hilarious. But I mean, it's true though. Like, where are you to say anything, bro? You're in prison for some crazy things, I might say. That's a whole nother video. You guys let me know if you want to see a Arturo, I don't know his last name, video. But yeah, he's flaming them all right.
But it was relevant to what I heard from this witness here today, because I think the system does the best it can. It's imperfect, and it has very much to do with the amount of resources that the public wants to put into the system, and those resources are finite. But as I say, in this building, the system is doing everything it can to fight drug use with all of our treatment courts, with everything we do, to try to help push back the plague of drug use that's occurred and that we've heard so much about in this case. So I read that statement. I heard from Ms. Schabusiness's father. He is coming in here to talk about his daughter, who's also going through the system, and I couldn't help but think of everything I heard about Ms. Schabusiness's son, because it seems to be a cycle. It seems to be just
shit! Is he about to flame the son too? What is going on? He's about to start flaming her son.
Circle. It's coming around again, so that if he ever finds himself in the situation that his mother finds himself in, where she's the only one he's got left to come in and speak for him.
Oh God.
Chill,
again, I guess
Judge. It's the system that's done something, but it all starts, frankly, at somebody's home and what they have to offer to their children. And so, anyways, I reflect on that. But I'm also convinced that no one is responsible for where they come from, but you are responsible for where you're going. So there's a lot of tragedy that has occurred in Ms. Schabusiness's life. There really is. I've already reflected on some of that, and it almost seems as if you could apply the phrase "she never had a chance" to Ms. Schabusiness.
But wait, 30 minutes ago he's saying how she had a pretty pleasant childhood. What the fuck is Judge See, I feel like he's just ranting at certain points. He's alright. I'm gonna take I like him back down to he's alright, because what are you talking about? You just said, oh, she never had a chance, and then 5 minutes earlier you're saying that she had a pretty decent childhood. Like, what?
And but as I said, you're not responsible for where you come from, but you are responsible for the choices you make about where you're going.
That's true, though. That's true.
And Ms. Schabusiness has got to be held responsible for that, and this is the ending of a process that is doing just that. At the same time, I'm absolutely convinced that irrespective of the sentence that Ms. Schabusiness gets, which in light of these charges is going to be a life sentence, every human being has the ability to move forward and find meaning in their life, and Ms. Schabusiness has that opportunity, just like anybody else in this courtroom. She has the ability to do that, and I certainly hope that for her. But all of those things I reflect on when I consider the character of this defendant. Next, I move on to the gravity of the offense. And I sit in this chair often, and I address situations where people have been have lost their lives, or people have been violated terribly, and I always indicate that really the offense in this case can't be overstated, and that seems very appropriate to say that in most cases when there's been such a death or a violation. But in this case, it seems different. In this case, you seem to run out of superlatives when describing what happened in this case. You really do. The list of superlatives don't seem to measure up to what you see and what you hear about, and what we heard about in the trial. This crime offense.
What the fuck is a superlative? Hold on. Superlative. Of the highest quality or degree. Superlative. A superlative, objective, or adverb.
Seem to measure up to what you see and what you hear about, and what we heard about in the trial. This crime offends human decency, it offends human dignity, and it offends the human community. It really does. When someone loses their life needlessly, it's tragic. It really is. It's tragic for family and friends and community. When life is taken by from a person in the fashion that it was in this case, where the victim's remains are cut up and packaged in containers, it's difficult to identify a human nature.
What do you mean? Don't act like you don't act like you're confused about that statement. She's like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
It really is. It's very troubling. It's difficult to recognize the general belonging that most people have for their community. It's difficult to recognize community in anything that happened in this case. This is a small community that we live in, where the web of relationships almost encompass everyone who lives here, such that people look out for each other and care when something bad happens to one of our members. And in a broader sense, the community we exist in is the human community, as I've reflected on, and these actions are foreign to all of that community, and they shock the community beyond the ability to adequately express in words. They really do. And that's the gravity of this offense. That is the gravity of this offense. There aren't superlatives for it. There aren't really words for it. You can get a sense of it. You can get a sense of it and a feel for it, but there's no really way to express the gravity of this offense. So the need to protect the public is an important factor the court needs to.
I get what he's saying, though. He's saying there's like no real word for the tragedy that takes place when shit like this happens. Basically, he's like, there's no real word for the feeling that you feel when shit like this happens. Like, he's just no longer here now because of your dumbass. Nothing natural, nothing. It's hard enough when somebody goes naturally, but you just stopped it. There's just a feeling. I get what he means.
With as well. And in light of what I've just indicated, I think it's plain that there is a need to protect the public in this case. As I said, this behavior seems so removed from the human community as to be unpredictable. It really is. And in a place where this kind of an offense, kind of actions, kind of a crime is possible, with no advanced warning signs, and absolutely anything's possible then. Where this kind of a thing is possible, absolutely anything is possible. And from that, the public needs protection. They really do. I've outlined, what I think are aggravating circumstances in this case. There are mitigating circumstances, as I've said. There's things about Ms. Schabusiness regarding her upbringing and what brought her here, the struggles she's had with some mental health issues, and struggling perhaps in the context of those issues with a family who wasn't always as present as they could have been. Those are mitigating sets of circumstances. But all of those things weigh into what this court has to address. So when I consider what is an appropriate sentence, first, I think the law requires that I at least look at least some of these cases. I take a look at probationary sentences. Those aren't appropriate. They would diminish the severity of the offense. But at this time, given all the factors that I have to consider, it's the decision of this court and the judgment of the law that Ms. Schabusiness be sentenced as follows. As to in 22 CF 363, count 1, that's the first degree intentional homicide as a repeater. It's a Class A felony. Going to impose life imprisonment without the possibility of extended supervision, I believe.
Damn, he just dropped it on there after a speech. He He didn't even segue that hard. He just gave her a little speech and straight into life in prison. Go to prison. Her eyes aren't squinting up right now. That life in prison probably hit her like a drug, like a hit of that crystal she's been hitting. Just like, whoa, I'm awake.
I believe that's appropriate in light of the findings that I've already made. As far as count 2, mutilation of a corpse as a repeater, a Class F felony, I'm going to adopt the recommendation of the pre-sentence investigation writer. 7.5 years of initial confinement followed by 4 years of extended supervision. That'll be consecutive to count 1.
Makes no difference.
As far as count 3, third-degree sexual assault as a repeater, Class G felony. I'm going to impose 3 years of initial confinement followed by 4 years of extended supervision. That will be consecutive to
Makes no difference.
count 2 and count 1. As far as the revocation cases, I'm going to impose 1 year of incarceration on each of those counts. Those will run concurrent to the other offenses. I've reviewed, as I've indicated, reviewed both of the pre-sentence investigations.
Damn, she has both consecutive and concurrent. So some are going after her life sentence and some are going along with her life sentence. That's crazy. They're really burying her right now. Shit.
Reports, there's certainly valuable things in them. I'm going to, as conditions of supervision, I'm going to require no contact with the victim's family, maintain absolute sobriety, complete SOT assessment and treatment follow-through, obtain and maintain full-time employment. To the extent there's ever supervision, GPS monitoring, I'm going to require an AODA assessment and follow-through, psychological evaluation and follow-through. The recommendations that are contained in the pre-sentence investigation report submitted by the defense indicates or suggests that there be services engaged in for substance abuse and other mental health issues. That's a reasonable suggestion, and I think I've encompassed it in the recommendations that I made, which is there needs to be a compass evaluation and follow-through with any treatment recommendations that are proposed. But again, an AODA assessment and follow-through and psychological evaluation so that Ms. Schabusiness can get the help that she needs while she serves this sentence. I'm going to order court costs. It's $538 per count. That's a total of $1,614.
So you know she's going to have to work and pay that court cost back off. That shit's crazy. Anyway, that was basically the Schabusiness saga right there. She got life in prison, guys. And, you know, surprising. You know what I mean? Super surprising. But, you know, she killed one person. If she did this to 2 people, she probably would have got like 2 life sentences, you know, so on and so forth. But yeah, she's fucked. She's back there forever, and she's going to have to work to pay off those court fees. So, yeah, good luck with your mental health, Miss Schabusiness. But, I mean, this might save her life. She might like it in prison. To be honest, I'm not even exaggerating. She may have just not worked too well in society, and prison might be a good outlet for her. So, who knows? Who knows? She might be out here changing laws in prison. But anyways, people, I love you guys, man. You guys are the greatest, man. You guys are the illest. Shout out to all my members. Shout out to all my Patreon members. You guys are great. I think I'm going to start shouting out names at the end or something because you guys are just so supportive. It's ridiculous, right? So, you know, check out the Patreon. Check out the memberships on YouTube. Those are mainly for if you guys want to tap into the lives that we be doing. I stream basically every Monday, Tuesday. And we're going to become a bit more consistent on those as well. So until the next one, guys, I love you guys. Stay inside. Stay safe. Peace out.